And here we are in the bottom right. In the red, the teamless Terran. Give it up for BYUN. And his opponent in the upper left, in the blue for Alpha X. He is ASTREA. Max Angel. And the question here is, what are we going to see in this series? Now, for those of you lacking a little bit of context about these games, these are from the DreamHack Last Chance Qualifier, North American Closed Qualifier. So I believe it was three or four players qualified from this qualifier, or qualify from this qualifier to the DreamHack Last Chance tournament, which is the very last tournament of the year that gives EPT points that allow these players to qualify for IEM Katowice. ASTREA a little bit out of the running. I believe actually ASTREA has qualified. Or ASTREA has functionally qualified, I believe. No, he has. Yes, he has. He's number one in EPT points for North America. So ASTREA is doing pretty good. He's not like he has his slot in Katowice confirmed, but BYUN doesn't. BYUN has been making a great run. He is still sitting pretty far up there, and he is rising with the day pretty much. But he's not there yet. He's not where he needs to be. He is. Actually. Never mind. It looks like with the points he got from TSL, he has in fact qualified for IEM Katowice this year, which is insane considering he played in one GSL and he played in a couple online cups at the end of the year, and that is just about it. He really did not come back from military until much later on in the year. So, well, hey, BYUN, this tournament, it matters a little bit less for him than it did, but the more important thing, of course, is the fact that BYUN, he's qualified for the play-in stage. He would really like to bump those numbers up a little bit more, get a bunch of points from this last chance tournament, and, well, turn it into a group stage invite instead of just the play-in stage. Group stage means it's a little bit less tenuous as you try to get on in there. And while I have no doubt that BYUN can absolutely blitz through a play-in stage, his risks are always suspect. And having him play less games means we get better games from him later on. And that is something I am absolutely here for. As we have ASTREA opening Phoenix in this game number one, as he looks to be a little bit defensive. BYUN does have a preponderance not a preponderance, a preference for an aggressive style. So there we have multiple Phoenix on the way here for ASTREA, which is a pretty good way to deal with the majority of the Terran aggressive options. Now, it doesn't work all that great against Hellion drops. Well, let me amend that. Sometimes that turns it into a very tricky matchup. The Phoenix is going to run in, find a bunch of Marines, say, okay, bagging out here, not really worth it. And it's kind of funny. So you would think Phoenix would be really good against those early Hellion drops, and they kind of are. I mean, they definitely lift Hellions and make things happen. But on the flip side, if they're not in the perfect position, suddenly you don't have anything on the ground to deal with things, and, well, you just kind of die. Oh, look at this Phoenix positioning here. BYUN does see this, and ASTREA does not, so the medevac is going to go out, as now we do have these, the Marines actually going forward, looking to see if they can knock this Phoenix out of the sky, or at least brush it back, and now BYUN's been able to find his way with this drop out onto the other side of the map, or at least he has found an opening. And opening is all that he really... Opening's all that he ever was looking for. As now these Marines from BYUN are finding their way onto the other side of the map, too. This is a rather weird push-out. I mean, I guess you already got a medevac coming up, but now we do have the Phoenix coming on, lifting just all the mules. So that is just about as important of a bit of damage as killing SCVs themselves. Now, okay, the Phoenix are aware of the fact that BYUN's moving out here with all of these Marines, so they're gonna look to lift off part of these Marines before they join the main clump. There they do so. And 5 probes have gone, 6 probes have gone down as we have the drop coming in the main base. ASTREA, he is paying attention, but okay, the Widow Mine retargeting. Is ASTREA paying ASTREA? Oh, he is paying attention. Oh, no, but BYUN's targeting it. 14 probes go down for 3 Widow Mines, and yes, the Phoenix are here. They can eventually lift this up, but 14 probes go down. That is, I'm not gonna say game ending, because ASTREA is still in the game, but that is, oh man, I don't really know what you do from there. Now, of course, as the Protoss player, you always want to be ahead of the Terran in probes and workers up until the point at where you can hit 3 to 4 base and then it evens out. But at this point in the game, you very much want to be ahead by about 8 to 10 workers, and losing 14 workers, being down 4 workers to the Terran players. There we have a nice pickup on these two Widow Mines. Really great job there. But anyway, you want to be so far ahead of the Terran economy at this point, because mules are a thing and it doesn't really work out. As we see here, BYUN is incredibly far ahead from an economic perspective. As mules drop, he's going to be up somewhere between 600 and 900 resources ahead. And these Phoenix are just really not able to get the type of damage they want to get done. Yes, ASTREA does have a 3rd base. Yes, he is probing off of 3 bases now. Yes, he has Phoenixes that are trying to get something done. But there's an upper limit to the amount of damage that a Phoenix can get done. They are, of course, limited by their energy. And look at these Widow Mines. They are really just positioned in random spots. The goal here is for BYUN to try to catch ASTREA off guard. Especially with the lack of the Observer there. Now BYUN getting ready to push out with a real force for the first time this game. I mean, yeah, he had that force in the front, and the fact that that force in the front really didn't get anything done is the one saving grace for ASTREA in this game, because, yeah, he took a lot of damage, but the majority of BYUN's early game army did die. As the Widow Mines, they're trying to bait once again. And he will be unable to do so. I don't think BYUN has enough here to really get anything done against the shield battery and all these Colossi. So he's going to look to maybe just target as many probes down as he can. And now he's going to go on into the main base. That is the scary thing, is now the Phoenix, they will be forced to recall. They don't have far to go, but that far is far enough. As now there are not a ton of Marines here. So of course the Phoenix going to lift all that they can first and foremost, and then just start targeting these medevacs down at 8, 9, maybe even, yeah, 10. There we go. 10 probes, 12 probes are going to go down here. And that, yeah, oh, that's fancy. So it looks like we had 10 probes go down to the main base, and then 2 Widow Mines ran their way on into ASTREA's 3rd, and BYUN is just all over ASTREA here in this game number 1. This is, honestly, this is just kind of dominance from BYUN, and yeah, he's losing some stuff. But if you look at resources lost, it's BYUN has lost a little bit more. As yeah, this Widow Mine's not going to get anything done. But BYUN now aware of the path the Phoenix are taking and knows that the Phoenix were in the bottom left, so that means they're most likely not in the bottom left now. So we have a bunch of Phoenix. They're going to run on in. And this is where ASTREA tries to get some damage done. But I mean, there's a missile turret here. And it's not like Phoenixes are, well, it's not like they are mutas or something. You kind of knock the missile turret down. Now they're just kind of stuck, and they don't want to take too much damage. Especially as they will be so impactful in the fights that are to come. As BYUN does find that probe in the upper left, takes it down, but that does hamstring his drop just a little. The Widow Mine shot, nice split there from ASTREA. And you know, the game is pretty much stabilized. Extended Thermal Lance is just about done. Now, ASTREA took all that probe damage early, so he can't have 2 forge, he can't have armor on the way. He's just going straight +1 attack, +2 attack. And now that he's maybe getting ready to take a 4th, that's when he can afford to add that 2nd forge. But he is adding 7 gates on top of the 3. He has played this game thus far with only 3 gateways, so that is a great defensive effort from him. But now he's exploding his gateway count as he looks to be able to actually finally be aggressive, be defensive, not just try to rely on his Phoenix to do everything for him, but because they truly have, as he, well, on top of that, he is going into disruptors behind this. So we're going to see some pretty cool stuff, or some pretty powerful armies coming out of ASTREA here. And BYUN, Well, he's playing like BYUN, which is the most descriptive. Oh, what are my shots? Oh no! BYUN, well placed. It's only one's gonna go off, so the entire Phoenix flock doesn't go down, but still, great move there from BYUN. As we do have a bunch of chargeless moving on into the third base. Only 3 SCVs do go down though. Alright, so now the scouting zealot. Maybe a potential for a run by later on, but more importantly, this does feel like a scouting zealot here. That ASTREA will find the drop of BYUN, so he's gonna know what he has to do to defend it, and that scan is gonna say, hey BYUN, you don't want to attack in here. Maybe you want to try to go to another base, but you do not want to attack into that third base, not with the majority of the Protoss army right there. But maybe now you have an opportunity. Oh, as we see ASTREA do it, targeting his own stock to make sure that he kills the Widowmine. But now we have ASTREA going, or now we have BYUN going here with this minefield, but this disruptor shot is going to be perfectly placed. ASTREA not born yesterday says, oh, you're scanning the high ground? Oh, this disruptor shot not going to go off. And actually, BYUN is going to get 2 disruptors for his troubles. Nice move there from BYUN. Alright, so now we have the army of ASTREA getting aggressive for the first time in this game, and, well, he's just running into Widowmine after Widowmine. That is not a good idea, not a good situation to be in. As now he's going to go through the rest of the minefield. Oh no, the Phoenix, one shot. Oh no, so many Phoenix going down here, and these Widowmines are just so freaking effective here. This does not feel good for ASTREA. I mean, it's not the game ending, but that does not feel good. And now BYUN, he's found the inside track to the 4th base of ASTREA here. That's why it feels so bad to try to take this 4th base. It's just really, it's hard to defend. It's hard to defend everything you need to. And now, of course, there are a ton of Vikings here, and it is going to be, again, it's going to be difficult for ASTREA to really get any damage down on top of those Vikings. But he is a massive, and I do mean a massive zealot run by coming on in here. What is that? 24 zealots coming on into the 3rd base, and now there will be an EMP, and that's going to be rather nice. But the zealot's getting a full 360 degree surround on this command center. Command center not burning yet, but just about, as these zealots are more than the reinforcements, more than the SCVs can deal with. So BYUN, his entire army will be forced back, and most of the zealots will survive anyways. But more importantly, this provides breathing room for ASTREA. It allows him to advance his tech once again. It allows him to be on a more even footing in this game that he really has taken some significant hits, some significant punches in. He lost 14 probes early, just lost his 4th base, and a decent amount of probes there too. He absolutely needs to be able to hit back, and hit back hard against the economic might of BYUN. And he has been able to do so. That last run by was really great. As now he's getting ready to move on, or add DTs to the mix. This is the late game that has just started killing so many, well, not has recently, but had started recently killing so many Terrans. You saw Parting do it against TY in season one of the GSL this year, and then Zest really turned it into an art form. Where late game, you just kind of move away from the big power units, you move away from Blink Stalkers and everything. Instead, you get Blink DT, you just get a ton of gateways, you just put tons of Blink DTs and charge slots into every base, and you just kind of kill things. As now the Zealots will target this down, and now, well, the command center is burning, but no, and actually, we're going to see BYUN just do a full repair there. And now these disruption shots are going to look to go off here. BYUN just trying to target everything down, and unfortunately for him, there are just too many disruptors there, although he will make a fairly decent trade. Now BYUN will find the base on the left-hand side, and that will go down, not even canceled here. BYUN, once again, he's just everywhere. I mean, he is never playing with just one army. He's always got 2 or 3 armies on other sides of the map, and now the Widowmine is going to go off once again. These Widowmines of BYUN are just incredibly effective, really long past the point in the game where they should be. And now the Vikings getting 3 pot shots. 1 Colossus goes down, 2nd one goes down, 3rd one going down in short order, and BYUN is just savaging the army of ASTREA in this game, and he's gonna have to avoid the disruptor shots. Disruptor shots are gonna make it rather difficult for him to push in, but I mean, look at this. He's up 7 workers. He is up in, well, he's just about even in upgrades actually. He's got +3 armor on the way. Once again, he has forgotten his +3 attack until right now, as the caster curse comes in. when you notice something, the player inevitably notices it as well and goes to fix it. But now we have disruptors coming on in, and that is a lot of DTs. And they have blink. They have +3. They are at 3-2. They are so powerful in this game. So I can understand why BYUN is reticent to move up in the high ground, move up into ASTREA's domain, but that does not change the fact that he is really, really far ahead. How many Liberators do we have on the map? 5 Liberators, more and more on the way. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Fusion Core go down. I'm surprised. Well, do you need a Fusion Core for Liberator range anymore? Can't remember. Again, I don't play Terran, so not exactly. But now we have a couple disruptor shots coming in. BYUN forced to micro against that once again, as these splits are going to be really nice. A couple of units are even just going to stim forward to make it so that it is that much more difficult for the disruptors to hit, as they have to worry about saving their own skins as well. So now the 4th bait is going to come under pressure, but meanwhile, ASTREA, that is a ton of blink DTs, and they're just going to look to go on top of this command center, burst it down before BYUN can do anything. And that makes a whole lot of sense. But now, of course, there are ghosts and there are liberators on top of that. So, not gonna be a lot. Okay, the 4th, this prospective 5th base is, well, this prospective command center will go down. And liberators are here. They are on top of the mineral line, but, well, it doesn't really matter. The DT is that they are getting 1 shot, well, they're getting 2 shot. But still, 23 workers do go down, and now BYUN, he's finding his army on the left-hand side, and there's going to be a scan going down, of course, but the DTs are still doing tremendous damage. But, of course, with the Vikings landing, Vikings do so much damage to Stalkers that BYUN will be able to force ASTREA back for the time being, as this game is rapidly going to insane. Well, it's just rapidly going insane, and I'm absolutely here for it. Oh no, the DTs find the ghosts, and they're gonna blink on their way out. So what a great trade. We have a couple snipes coming on in, but 2 DTs for 4 or 5 ghosts. I will give you one guess as to who that favors, and the answer, it's not the Terran. Now BYUN finally getting ready here to take his 5th base on the right-hand side. That will allow him to push on in into ASTREA's 4th, but ASTREA has taken his 5th base in the aggressive position. It is not on the same side of the map as the 4th. So that means BYUN has to choose whether he wants to push into one or the other. He cannot do both, not at the same time. So this allows ASTREA to defend that much more efficiently, as he's just got that 1 spot to defend. Although, and BYUN actually, he's gonna run into a DT's gonna find the morphing command center, and BYUN's army will be forced back once again to deal with things. As he swings around to the right-hand side, maybe this is less of a warped in to deal with things, and much more, or swing back or run back to defend things, and much more of a I'm just gonna swing around to the right-hand side. I think your army is primarily on the left-hand side. As the EMPs are just gonna go off on the shield batteries, on the photon cannons, and now ASTREA's army, one of ASTREA's armies, I guess, has found its way on into the natural. Tons of blink DTs, tons of blink stalkers, tons of chargelets, and so many SCVs are going to go down here. Perhaps even the command centers. There's just going to be nothing there that can defend it. And these are, of course, +3 blink stalkers. They do a ton of damage. The command center goes down, and now we just have the recall. BYUN's not going to be able to get the trade that he needs here. Meanwhile, he has lost so many SCVs over the last minute. Lost 15 total SCVs and lost his 3rd base. Meanwhile, the rest of the army of ASTREA here, the army that recalled. What was left is now going to find this 5th base of BYUN, and it's just going to get targeted down immediately. BYUN not even going to cancel the planetary. He knows this base is dead. And now, well, yes, this is a hard position to attack into, although these disruption shots are going to be rather pleasant. Knocking off a bunch of SCVs, and well, these disruption shots are going to... Yeah, BYUN cannot stim on into that. Now, BYUN does have an army on the left-hand side. He's looking to get a full-on sandwich here. But unfortunately, he is not an Earl. He's not from England, so there will be no sandwich. And no Earl of Sandwich neither. As now the army of ASTREA has found this army of BYUN, taking it out, and yes, BYUN microing for all that he is worth. But it is, well, actually, BYUN had an army supply for the moment, but I don't have as much faith in his army as I do in the continual reinforcements of BYUN here. So the scan's not even going to last, and some of these DTs survive. As now BYUN, he has not much. A nice disruptor shot here. It's going to land 2 SCVs.
By the void.
By the void, indeed. As now BYUN's drop here on the left-hand side, but this has been scouted. We can see Stalkers blink on top of the medevacs. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. Well, 3 down. There we go. Pop, pop, pop. And yeah, of course, I mean, BYUN's trading as well as he can, but those are not efficient trades here. As he's just desperately looking for some way back into this game. But you can't find your way back into a game by out-trading an opponent, or by trading poorly against an opponent who has a better economy. That's just not how it works. You can't even trade evenly. You have to trade incredibly efficiently, and BYUN has just not been able to do that yet. And now, ASTREA, he's on the warpath. He has this incredibly powerful late-game mass disruptor, mass DT army, which sounds like a weird composition until you see it in action. So we're going to start to see some disruptor shots coming on in here, and BYUN just cannot engage on into that. Not really. These disruptor shots are going to go off on top of everything, and BYUN's army is just going to evaporate. Now we're at 170 supply to under 100 here for BYUN. The disruptor shot's going to go on in once again, and there we have it. GG, ASTREA. He takes game number 1 in style. What a game from ASTREA there. What a game indeed. But hey, you know, we are not done. That is just game 1 of this series, and oh, what is that? What is that hotkey? There we go. All right, players loaded into game number 2. ASTREA with the surprising 1-0 lead over BYUN in this series. Let's go. And here we are, spawning in the bottom left in the red. The teamless Terran himself. It's BYUN. And in the upper right, in the blue, representing Alpha X. Up 1 game in the series, 1 game from advancing. Give it up for ASTREA. And of course, ASTREA is not on Evil Geniuses. BYUN is not on Red Bull. Fortunately, someone with a logos mod accidentally chose these players as BYUN and Jaedong in the mod, because of course BYUN, Jaedong, and Hyun, or sorry, not BYUN, Bomber, Jaedong, and Hyun are the 3 players that are shown in the logos mod as demos for big tournaments, and someone must have clicked on that. So BYUN is not Bomber. ASTREA does not play for EG. But hey, you know what? Call back to a bigger day when EG was still in StarCraft, when Red Bull still sponsored tons of StarCraft events. Man, I gotta say, and yes, Red Bull still does sponsor some StarCraft players. They sponsor Raynor. They had the Xel'Naga Finest this summer, which was a pretty cool tournament. But man, I absolutely miss the Red Bull Battlegrounds tournaments. That is, the Red Bull Battlegrounds Grand Finals DC was the only StarCraft tournament that I have ever attended in person. And man, what an experience. One of the last events that Day9 himself, that Day9 casted. It was in the Lincoln Theater in DC, you know, old historic space, right next to Ben's Chili Bowl, which makes some pretty tasty chili dogs. And well, just everything about it was just awesome. The production value, they had these stylized posters of all the players who had gotten enough points to the championship circuit that year, and they were banners on the walls, and they were lit up when the players were still in the tournament, taken down when they weren't. And it was Kier's first big run. One of the this was when Bomber was just dominant. He wins 4-0 in the finals after Kier is in the round of 4 of the GSL and in the finals of this tournament. All the storylines coming together. And man, what a tournament. I miss those days. But hey, that's not to say these days are bad either. We just get so much quality StarCraft content on a daily basis. And I hope you think that I contribute to that quality StarCraft content, but regardless, even if you think I'm pretty terrible, what I do know is that content, I certainly do benefit from it. I love that there's pretty much any time of the day I can go watch things. We should probably talk about the game in a minute. As ASTREA, he's got a Zealot and he has an Adept. They're trying to get as much damage done as possible. And now with the second Adept here, this is a fight that ASTREA can possibly take. It's going to go on in, but now the Adept is taking too much damage and will be forced to shade away. Although Shade is on cooldown, so this Adept may actually go... No, okay, the Adept won't go down, but will take some rather significant damage. Actually, hold, but never mind. It does go down. And this is a massive mistake from ASTREA here. He thought he had an opportunity to do something cheeky, just rally units across the map and force BYUN into a panic, but well, instead, ASTREA is the one that's got to be in a panic here, as he, well, here's the units lost tab. 2 Adepts and a Zealot for 2 Marines and an SCV. Well, the value lost tells the entire story, absolutely. And I guess there's a little bit of repair action happening too that diminished the economy slightly, but doesn't really matter. It doesn't really impact the story of this game all that much. It's not like it's a mass repair for multiple minutes or something. So now, of course, we have this drop coming on into the main base. No Widowmine this time, just 8 Marines. And there's just not a whole lot here to defend this. I mean, there are some Stalkers, but most of the army that ASTREA would have had to maybe deal with this push, well, it kind of died on the other side of the map. So now, of course, we have the Widowmine coming on in, not doing anything whatsoever, but now the probes are getting pulled after the Widowmine goes off on, of course, onto the... Widowmine going off on the probe that goes on into the gas, and now, well, the probes are getting pulled on into the main base, and BYUN not doing a great job of targeting these probes down, so only 2 die. Although this Hellion is getting some work done. Wow, BYUN actually just targeting, actually, there we go, now he's targeting probes down, and we're going to see 4, 5 probes, 6 probes go down. Great targeting there from BYUN. And this goes from a lot of wounded probes and nothing going down to a lot of probes dying, and BYUN, not maybe the most perfect punish that he could have gone for, but certainly a decent job of punishing things. And now we have a Colossus drop coming in from ASTREA here. I don't know what it is about this, but, well, I should say I don't know what it is about PvT recently, but I have seen so many Colossus drops in the games that I have casted recently, and that's, I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. Certainly a build you don't see all that often. That we have the Raven coming on in. 2 probes, 3 probes will go down. Maybe even 4, but no. Okay. Only 3 probes are going to go down here. And now with the Warp Prism moving its way onto the other side of the map. Well. Warp Prism moving its way onto the other side of the map here. ASTREA is looking to see if he can get some bits of damage done. He has to do some equalizing damage here, but there's already a Viking in position, and that means ASTREA, he's going to have to back up, and more importantly, BYUN has that Raven in position once again, although this is just an SCV pull, not SCV death, but he's got an unsupported army here on the left-hand side. Raven running on in once again, but does not have the energy. The whole point of this here is to draw the army of ASTREA out of position, and BYUN has expertly done so. What is here to defend this third base? Nothing. The answer's nothing. Alright, so the pylon's going to go down. We're going to have some probes going down here, and BYUN's just going to start targeting this Nexus down. Alright, so the Warp Prism is going to have to be recalled. Viking shelling away at it. And now, well, oh no! Well, that's that. Some recall RNG not going in the favor of ASTREA in the slightest, as the already damaged Warp Prism is recalled to the third base instead of the main with the natural, right on top of a bunch of stim bio. That was ASTREA's only chance at holding that base, and it didn't happen. And just immediate GG, and I absolutely understand that one. Absolutely understand that one. I do not blame our Alpha X Protoss player in the slightest. That was it. That just happened. And now we're moving on into game number 3. As both players are tied up 1-1 in this series. Let us go. And here we are spawning in the upper right in the red. He is the one, the only. He's BYUN. And on the bottom left side of the map, representing Alpha X, he is Max Angel, otherwise known as ASTREA. Of course, once again, ASTREA does not play for evil geniuses. Cyberpower BC, Razor, Monster Energy, Bank, and HyperX are not sponsors of Alpha X, although they should be. And if you are affiliated with any of those companies and just happen to be watching this video, make sure you go on in and say, hey, you know, we should get back into StarCraft. Absolutely, we should do that. We should sponsor Alpha X. They have some great players. And I will wholeheartedly agree with that statement. You will find it hard for me to disagree with that. Absolutely. But hey, we're in Game 3 of this series. And nothing too crazy coming out from either player yet. Just a gate expand coming in from Max Angel. And a marine reactor expand coming in from BYUN. This just appears to be his standard opener against Pro Dutch players rather recently. Which is not standard, but of course he's BYUN. He comes up with his own builds a lot. And more importantly than that, going Reaper expand versus Marine expand, they have their pros and cons. BYUN just likes his ability to get a couple Marines out faster, get that reactor out faster, get that factory out faster. All these things, they're minor. They, in the grand scheme of things, probably not going to make the biggest difference at anywhere but the highest level. But spoiler alert, this is the highest level. These are professional players. BYUN, ASTREA, both GSL caliber players. ASTREA, DreamHack North American champion this year. And runner-up in another, BYUN, recent champion of the Aces ROG online tournament. Quarter, top 4 at the very least at TSL 6, and overall a mensch. So it looks like ASTREA in this game number 3 is going to opt for a blink opener. Makes a lot of sense on the map considering how much room there is for the on the cliffs on the edge of the main base, on the edge of the natural. Well, I guess more really on the edge of the main base. Not a whole lot of cliffage on the natural. And it's a pretty solid build. It suffers against like the one base Hellion drop shenanigans that we see some players like, but that is not what BYUN is about. It's not what he's been about in the series, and not really what he's been about from the casted matches that I've had the opportunity to watch or commentate myself. And once again, he's not showing it here, but this is an interesting build. So this is a 2-1-1, but this is the greedy 2-on-1. As it is 2 barracks, of course, 1 for reactor, 1 for stim. Oh wait, I'm sorry, this is not a 2-on-1 at all. I assumed that was a factory. That is not. This is a 3rd barracks. So we're gonna see a lot of Marines coming out here, as well as pull someone. Now ASTREA will scout this. Does he scout the? He has not seen the 3rd command center, but he does see the eBay. He does see the 3 barracks. He does see the fact that something is researching off the tech lab. He knows it's most likely stem now. He does see the 3rd command center. So ASTREA, well aware of things, says, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to take a 4-minute 3rd. Not the earliest possible. Although I guess that was more of a 3:45 3rd base. So getting up in the quickness of things. Now we have a couple stalkers looking to find their way across the map. Blink is not done, and it looks like BYUN may have found this timing before. He's may have been able to find this timing before ASTREA is ready. But it should be noted that there are no medevacs, and there will not be medevacs for quite a while. So ASTREA getting any sort of damage on this army. ASTREA forcing any stim on this army. Well, that really diminishes from the effectiveness of it. And now ASTREA is supremely confident. Look at this. He's going double forge against this. I guess maybe it's the read on the 3rd command center. He says, yeah, BYUN, you're being a greedy man. I can stall your push until the end of time, and I'm gonna get double upgrades here. And you know what? I think this is the proper move. Of course I am worried about the push that BYUN is going to put out, and I'm worried about the lack of splash damage. But once we get charged, well, Marines are simultaneously good and bad against chargeless. I mean, they shred charge zealots, absolutely, but on the flip side, they also get shredded by them. So, yeah, it's kind of a 6 one way, half dozen the other. And now, If ASTREA can sandbag this out until he has 1-1 against the Terrans just +1, and if he can do that, he's going to be in a rather solid position. Now, actually, yeah, it looks like BYUN is going to wait for a minute to make this push, at least until he has 2, maybe 4 medevacs. And we have concussive shells, combat shields on the way here. So ASTREA will, I believe, be able to get 1-1 out by the time this happens. Now, ASTREA does have to be careful. Does not want to lose any of these stalkers, but there we go. He's just sitting on the edge of things, sitting on the edge of range. And yeah, he's going to go forward, but more importantly, he has forced a stim. Half this army from BYUN is a whole lot less healthy than it was just a minute ago. And ASTREA, I mean, he's just trying to sandbag this. He's already got a 4th base on the way. ASTREA is not worried about this whatsoever. Yeah, 1-1 will be done by the time that BYUN looks to make his push. Now, and he doesn't even have that much more army supply than his opponent. So that early 3 racks that he did, I mean, it was any sort of supply lead he could have gotten is counteracted by the fact that he got like 2 minutes and like 30-second third command center. Alright, so now BYUN's gonna add a couple more barracks, probably go into +1 armory, add an armory, add a second eBay, and go from there. But ASTREA is like, look, BYUN, you've been greedy, but I think you were trying to be greedy for a push that has not happened yet, and I am absolutely gonna punish that for you. And well, now BYUN's getting ready to move across the map here. He does have 2 medevacs and 1 tank, so not the best army, but not terrible. And ASTREA's actually got a pretty decent supply. Your S is down a little, but you gotta remember, these are 1-1 chargelets against a Terran that is below 150 supply, so that army is not nearly as powerful as it was. But with the SCV pull, so many of these zealots are going to take so much damage before anything happens, and the Guardian Shield has not caught up with us. BYUN microing for his life here. The Stalkers are going to blink forward, target these medevacs down, and BYUN taking a pretty good fight. Even though he did lose a decent amount of SCVs, he's going to be able to clean up the rest of this army, and suddenly BYUN, I feel like ASTREA, he just took this fight a little bit too early. Now more and more chargelets are going to come on in, and BYUN's army is heavily overstimmed. So if ASTREA can just last to the next round of warplanes, maybe even lose his 3rd base here. I mean, he does have a 4th. Wouldn't even mind seeing him recall these probes. Actually, looks like the probes will be able to get out. Charles looking to try to fight some small portion of this army, but now we have a bunch of stalkers blinking on in, and the Colossus is here to fight. So BYUN's army, as overstimmed as it is, each sweep of these side blades are just going to annihilate more and more and more of the Protoss army, or of the Terran army. And yes, 9 probes did go down, but 9 probes? BYUN lost 15. ASTREA has a 4th. ASTREA has 2-2 just about done. BYUN only has +1 attack. And I with this, and actually looks like there's a pretty big warp in here too. So we're gonna see, we see more and more SCVs going down here as well. Plus 2-2 is just about done about 15 odd seconds. Pity is not there for that engagement, but now BYUN. Yes, he's got a marginally bigger army, but I mean, by the time he moves across the map, it's not gonna be that much bigger. 2-2 done in 8 seconds. ASTREA is gonna have a 3 upgrade lead, on top of an economy lead, on top of a tech lead. How in the world does BYUN make this happen? Alright, so we will find these Colossi, we'll find this army here, but we do have just a force field. And look, the army of our Protoss players is just not dying. It is two armor upgrades against only 1 attack upgrade. So BYUN's just kind of tickling ASTREA here. So now the army of ASTREA is going to advance on the left-hand side. We're going to see these Stalkers probably blink just right on top of these medevacs. There we go. One's going to go down. And probably not a second because boost is a thing. But this army is not trading all that well. And BYUN, he has been forced to rotate around. And if you look at the supply, yeah, ASTREA's down army, but not nearly as much as he was. 3-3 is on the way. So BYUN's going to have 3-3 just about the time or ASTREA's going to have 3-3 just about the time BYUN has 1-1. That's insane. ASTREA here on 4 bases, almost fully saturated. Now, I think I would like to see him start going into a second level of splash guy, add a second robo, start going to disruptors, maybe a storm, something like that. as we are hitting that post 150 supply mark where Terran's just a little scary against the Brothers player. But ASTREA says, no, it is time for late game. Absolutely. Time for me to put on my late game shoes, add a Dark Shrine, add DT Blink, go to town, just warp in significant numbers of Zealots and DTs into my opponent's bases and make him cry tears of sadness. Tears of woe. And the War Prism's getting ready to move on into the main base, and the rallies have just completed, so there's really not a whole lot here. Although, yeah, BYUN's going to be able to make the rally back. The War Prism will be able to get out of here, but 6 SCVs have already died, and look at that. Nothing else is dying in this game. Well, we may see things eventually die, but no Zealots are dying. And now, yeah, ASTREA says, hey, look, you know what? You're just all in the main base. Now it's time for me to drop on the natural. Now, War Prism will eventually get cleaned up. He's going to run on top of Marines. Doesn't really have much of a choice, as there are just tons of Vikings in the air. But 8 more SCVs have gone down. BYUN really is lacking in economy in a significant way. Although he has done a really good job of maintaining his army supply. So if there is a situation where he wins, it's here before his opponent gets clear 3. Is that disruptor shot actually really good. Now, unfortunately, the Vikings have just gotten on top of all these Colossi, but the StarCraft should start to target them down. Only 1 Colossus has gone down for the moment, and this is the upgrades really showing through here. Disruptor shot's going to go in and make a fairly decent fight, but now the boys have been pulled, but what army is there to support? There is none, and ASTREA is going to take it. Moving on to the next round of this DreamHack Last Chance tournament, and ASTREA 2-1 BYUN. Are you kidding me?